I spent 14 months on my first business idea just for it to fail completely. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
48 hours of it just me freaking out and losing my mind.
Guys, my name is Ian. I'm an entrepreneur based in Zurich, and these videos are for anybody who's in that range of $100,000 to $500,000 with their business or a micro business, because I've done all the mistakes. So if you're making $1 million plus, this isn't for you. I haven't gotten there yet. If you're just starting your business or looking to start your first business, this kind of stuff I hope will help. So let's jump into it by showing you my first failure, which was something called the rage room. And if you don't know what a rage room is, this is a rage room. And the idea is sick. It's so good. You know what? So like I said, my first idea was something called the rage room. I worked on it for 18 months and it was a complete and total disaster.
This is about as, I don't know how much lower it gets than this. If I have to summarize the entire situation, I spent $7,000. I've worked for the last year, making no money, storing my things down in that space. I dismantled an entire barn.
First part started off well. Came straight out of university. I was in a class called entrepreneurship, and I asked that teacher at the time, said, hey, what's the best way to learn how to run a business? And she said something that blew my mind. She said, go run a business. And it's like,
no Sherlock.
That seems very, very straightforward, and it is. So that was my first goal. I even presented the idea at university. When I was there, I would rip pages off of like presentation papers and I would smash my old computers during, and like this was a school where we all wore suits. So it was very like out of the box. And I thought like, this is going to be it. My classmates were like, this is going to work. This is really cool. You don't need any money to build it up. And it was right up my alley. I can build things myself. It was very cheap to start up. I thought getting everything was going to be super easy. But like Alex Ramosi says, there's shit in every business. And boy, did I find the shit in this one.
I have never felt more stuck in my life. Like I can't go out and get a job because if this thing picks up, then I've got about 2 weeks to prepare. This is awful. This is not fun.
So I thought the hardest part of doing business was having the idea. Nope. Actually executing and getting the thing off the ground is insanely difficult. And that's what I spent 18 months doing. I was rebuilding an apartment at the time, trying to get this idea to work and just using every trick in the book that I thought that I had. So for example, being really charming, going through and being very confident. And I found a space actually pretty quickly. It was one of those things where I was applying for a bunch of different spots. And because I was new, I had this confidence that I still don't have again to this day. I wish I could find it, but it's gone. I don't know where it is. It's just gone. And it was just simply me saying like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. You guys definitely want to give me a space because I'm going to bring a shitload of people there because I, studied at this university and whatnot. It's now when I think about it's crazy. So I found a space very quickly. And during that time, they said, you have to change the use of the space, which we'll get into in a second, which is another nightmare. And I was like, cool, okay, this must be a normal thing to do. And I'm just going to do it myself. Duh. So I said, okay, cool. But here's the thing. I am broke. I said it in a different way, but I had no money. So I said, look, I will take this space under the condition that I can store all my things in here, and I will only start paying rent once the concept is running.
Everyone is super stoked on me, even if they don't know it.
And they were like, okay, like I have not been able to do that or even anything close to that since then. I don't know where that confidence came from, but like it's impressive now that I think about it. So I start getting everything ready. I start talking to local recycling plants. I go start collecting things. And as everybody finds out when they first start any business, there was a lot more to do than I thought. For example, we go with the first thing, the recycling plants. I thought I was going to be able to go to these different recycling centers and say, hey, I'm going to take the stuff off your hands. We're going to smash it. We're going to bring it right back. And so it's going to be a win-win for both of us. You guys have to do less work. I can go through and like make it easy for you. No problem. Amigos. And they were like, actually, we bring everything in and we weigh it and the weight matches the energy output. And if you then take it away from that, then the taxes we file will be off. And so we will be charged for fraud. So I was like, you don't want to give me your stuff? So that didn't work. Then I just started going to smaller recycling centers and I would take all the printers and stuff that they had from there. And when the people working there asked me what I was doing, I said, there's gold this is real. There's gold in the motherboards. And so I'm harvesting the gold from the motherboards. So I'm taking these, I'm going to get the gold, I'm going to bring it right back. That was a lie. Guys, by the time I was 12 months in, I had so much shit down in this space. There was wood from this barn that my brother and I took apart because I was like, I'm going to use that wood for building the space. I had a bunch of security fencing that I paid $1,000 for. And it was like, it's when you look back, you're like, man, why the hell did I? Anyway, I had it. I had a bunch of old CDs. I had a bunch of old suitcases. I just had a bunch of stuff down there.
Now I got to load all this stuff into the car, into the trailer.
So then I think I'm through the hardest part. I find out how to get materials. It's a very weird way of doing it. I'm working on this apartment at the same time. And as I'm doing this, the space that I have where I'm storing all my stuff for free, by the way, is classified as an office. Okay. This is important because it was classified as an office. In order to turn it into a rage room, you had to get it reclassified as a rage room. And so when you do any new building permit of any kind in Zurich, it's quite complicated. They want to look at the ventilation. They want to look at the fireproofing. They just want to make it safe. And that could be hundreds of thousands of Swiss francs, which I didn't know. But I was about to find out.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
So, started going through the process. They said you need a firewall. I'm like, okay, I can build a firewall.
So that's the wall that I have to get fireproofed. Goes all along here till there, and then the other side of that wall. There's so much stuff in here, I know. God, it's crazy. And everything is recycled. Everything is secondhand, is used. All along here.
They said you need ventilation. I managed to get around the whole ventilation thing by hiring a friend of mine who I was working with, who was an architect, and we proved that we could get the ventilation done by just opening the windows. So somehow I got around, and that's the most expensive part. That can cost you easily like $140,000 because they have to run it through your space. They have to run it up the building. You have to get building permits, and you have to get all of your neighbors to agree that you're going to run this ventilation. It's crazy here. So I managed to get around that by going to the actual office of the department that takes care of this to show them my concept. And when I showed up outside the guy's door, he's like, "You're not supposed to be here.
You can't keep coming around here like this."
Yeah, I know, but I need you to look at this because it's really important. This is going to be the best thing ever. So I actually managed to get through all of that. I got through all of the hoops, and I got to the final stage where I had the approval from the city. I had the approval that as long as I build my wall, which was going to be like 10K, which I didn't have, to do this, then I was set. And I was like, okay, now that I have this, I'm going crazy with the concept. So I had a rage room was actually a small part of it. So you go through and smash printers, computers, all that kind of stuff. On the right side, I had this rage escape thing where it was like an adventure room, but you could go through and smash the stuff instead of like finding code. So it was more like a physical thing. And I thought, like, this is going to be sick. I would pay money to do this. So stupid when you think about, like, it would have been such a nightmare to do all this stuff. Then I had a bar, and on the right side of the bar, I still think this is a cool concept. I had like an alley where we were going to do, and by the way, this was inside an office building where I was going to do this, huh? Keep this in mind. Like, you can see it. It's an office building. Axe throwing range here. So here is going to be the range. The range is going to go into this little pocket here. Oh, it's me. Hi. This whole space over here is going to be closed off for my secret project. It's going to be my laboratory, basically. I'm very excited for this. It's in a basement. It's not like in a junkyard. It's there with everybody else. And next to the table there, I still have that table, by the way. I was going to have this lane for throwing glasses and breaking glasses called shards. And so you'd get a drink at the bar, get nice and drunk, and then go over to the shards lane and throw the glasses. I still think it's a really dope idea. And then I had 3 axe throwing lanes because I saw this axe throwing thing. And I was like, okay, this would be a nice little byproduct, which we'll come to the axe throwing later. So I then bring this to the renter. I bring my concept. I'm like, guys, I'm finally ready to rent. I just have to do this stuff. And like, this is what the concept's going to be. And the guy who had never met before, he was looking at it. And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll contact you. We'll contact you later. Like, okay. And I walked out like, what could go wrong? There's nothing that could possibly go wrong here. I got everything from every department. I've been working on this for a long time. I've proven my concept. I've shown them how the numbers. I had done all the Excel math, so you could see how rich you were gonna get at Excel. Bro, I was a fucking millionaire within like 3 months.
With $10,000, we'd be millionaires.
So I think it was 3 days later, and I get told, we're not going forward with your project.
I just got the email that they will not rent the space to me. I don't know. I do know what to do, but get your shit signed. Trust nobody. Everybody's untrustworthy.
So it wasn't the fire department. It wasn't the safety department. It wasn't any of these departments that said, no, you can't do this. It was the renters who said, this is a terrible idea. And I was heartbroken. I thought, you assholes, you are going to let me work this much and go through all these hoops just so you can tell me no at the end? I don't think so. So I went and pushed and I fought and I said, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this because that's who I am. And I'll never stop fighting, never give up.
But that's just not going to happen because he's not right. It has to happen. I've gone too far for it to not happen now.
And eventually I gave up. And about 4 months after that, I found my current business, which is Axtra, Urban Axe Throwing. And it's an axe throwing range in Earlycone. I've been doing that for the last 6 years, and it is by all means a success. Now, we went through COVID, but that's a different video. I think I wanted to make this video because, first of all, there's so much good content there of just like so many years ago, so many years past, and I can make more videos on this going into more details of how it went. But I have to say, that idea failing was the best thing that ever happened to me. Really, it was one of the top 5 things in my life that happened to me. Because first of all, it shows you no matter how certain you are with an idea, it could be shit. Like imagine if this idea actually went through, I would have been just a cleaner. Like you go through and you have to clean up your own space. You have to tidy it every time. Every time somebody comes through, you have to go and clean that up and get it ready for the next person. The turnover is insane how long that takes. And the money's not that great. Like we charge like the same amount for a round of axe throwing, but there's almost nothing to clean up. There's a couple wood chips that fall and maybe an axe breaks. Like it's so much easier. So when it first happened, I was super, super upset. And I was like, you know, this company sucks. And like, this is all terrible. And like, I'm never working with them again.
I just want my money back. I just want my money back and I move my stuff. And it's so funny because that entire space that they're building is going to be dedicated to startups. And there's one other startup in there, and I literally told them that they should move there. It's crazy.
Honestly, if I can meet those people, if they're watching this right now, if you guys want to reach out, I would love to buy you a beer and just shake your hand and say thank you for not letting me do such a stupid idea, as I think that would have burned me out. I think that would have been such a terrible, terrible thing to happen. So this is the first video. I hope it's a little inspirational for you to say like, just because that first idea doesn't work doesn't mean that it has to, right? Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. Sometimes not. Sometimes you need to fight, but it's hard to tell in the moment. It's hard to tell when you're doing it. You know, I had my friends from university, people like who didn't even know me knew I was doing this business idea. Like, wow, you're going to be an entrepreneur. That's cool. My university teacher was like, yeah, this is an idea that'll work. And it's like, you know, it's really low cost and everything. You just got to hustle. Da, da, da. So it's just, I love it as an example of just, you know, it's a beautiful failure and I'm very happy it happened. And I wouldn't take it back. I would absolutely spend that year and a half again, even though I was in my 20s and it was kind of a waste of like that time in my 20s to do that again, because it was just such good learnings that sometimes, first of all, sometimes it's better to fail. But second of all, you shouldn't jump too far into a project like this without testing it a little bit, without seeing what people want. You know, you need a little bit more like fluidity. You need to be able to be a little bit more balanced with everything and not build out an entire concept that's brand new, that's never been tested, and then launch it in the market and expect something to happen. Now I've copied a concept and it's much easier. It's much more simple because I can take a concept that works and make it better. And we are.